All right. All right. I'd like to say hello to all my friends out there in podcast land, vidcast land, whatever land you want to call it, home of the free, land of the brave, all that good stuff and all that in the middle. Again, my name is Curtis Robinson, and I'd like to welcome you all to another segment of Momentum, a stewardship idea. I'm just exceptionally excited, if that's actually, you can put those two words together, to have two of my favorite people on the planet. Of course, you know me. Let me change my name here real quick. You know me as Salt. Boom, just like that. And I'd like to introduce my co-host. We call him Pepper, but he's an elder at the Westminster Presbyterian Church in Tiburon, California. Also, one of the leading investment bankers here in the Bay Area. Why don't you say hello to us, brother Jeffrey Healy?
Hey, Salt. It's so wonderful to be with you again. It's been an incredible week. All this manipulation going on, and there's some root causes we need to get to here. There's some unrest.
It is, man, and I saw your post. Your email, man, I read it, and I think we got a good guest on there. We could talk about that a little bit today too, because we got a good guy on here who understands that game backwards and forward. He taught it to me, and I tried to teach it to other people, but they wouldn't listen because I don't know the rap as good as he does.
Yeah. But
we're so glad to have with us today. I still call him my manager, right? Because I think a good manager is not only a manager of an office, but he helps you manage your life, and he just taught us just some invaluable lessons about a work ethic, going to work, working hard, put your head down. If you put your head down for 60 days, day 91, your life is going to be changed. So I'm just glad to have with us today my man, my mentor, Angel Cruz. Hey, Angel, how you doing today, bud?
Curtis, introduction like that, I tell you make me want to go away now. I can't live up to that.
You're worthy of it, bro. You are worthy of it in every way. I see you still got the Vince Lombardi poster up there on the wall.
I got the Vince Lombardi, man, words to live by. I mean, probably some of the most powerful words ever written. Yeah. Good to see you, Jeff, as well. Thank you for having me on, Curtis and Jeff, and I look forward to a fascinating conversation with you guys.
Man, that's fantastic. So Healy, talk about it a little bit. You want to talk about the stock market for a second? Let's go ahead and pop it off. Get to it.
Thanks so much, Angel. We're not trying to blindside you. Just gonna get into something that I think will feed exactly into one of your real strengths. And I'm going to start with a little sports analogy that Curtis read. I had a dear friend back in St. Louis. Her name was Sally Irwin. Her husband was Hale Irwin, the golfer. Hale won 3 U.S. Opens, was number one on the senior tour for a while, All-American football player at Colorado, All-American golfer at Colorado. And we were talking one day about practice. And he said, one of his lines, as we've all heard, is that perfect practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes better. One of the things that he would do, Angel, when he was at these tournaments, they'd let the pros go out the day before the Pro-Am to get their practice round in. Hale would get to the first tee, hit his drive just as well as he could, went in the middle of the fairway, didn't really matter to him. He would look and say, okay, where would be the worst shot I could have to play next? So he wouldn't play the shot that he hit. He'd go over and hit the toughest shot. And he'd repeat that for the whole round. So every stroke he had to take was the hardest stroke that he would see that whole week. Mm-hmm. And he talked about one time, Gary's a couple years older than he is. And he said that he was going out on a practice round, and there's Gary in the sand trap. And he's practicing. He's at the far left end of the trap. And Gary Player had a phenomenal sand game. Hale comes back in 3.5 hours later, and Gary's now at the right end of the sand trap. He had spent 3.5 hours in there. So I look at that, and the analogy isn't perfect, but it's not that far off. I look at the actions in some of these stocks the last week that were attacked, if you will, that were run up on short squeezes, this, that, and the other. The guys that did this, the men and women that did this, in my estimation, found a little chink in the armor and they exploited it. But long term, you got to do the work. You got to know the companies you're investing in. It's not a game. It's not a 3-minute hold. This is investing. And I think what we saw the second day and the third day and the fourth day, we just had the cannabis stocks run and then collapse. You got to do the work. You got to do the work. That's where I'll start.
So what you think about GameStop, Cruz?
No, it reminds me of, and you're talking about the stock market. You know, it reminds me of the old days, Curtis, when we worked together. And I was a big believer in building things, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know that we're necessarily, Jeff, getting to your point, I don't know if we're necessarily building anything, you know? You see what happened last week, and it makes you stop and wonder what's really being built out there. And let's take a look at that, and let's try to find those types of investments, and perhaps skip out on the stuff that's making all the noise, because the stuff that's making all the noise is really not going to win the game. You know, it's not in the long term. You know, it could be fun. It's a gamble, and it's basically Vegas. But in the long term, that stuff's not going to win the game because nothing's really being built.
Right. Agreed. Couldn't agree more.
That's great. So while we're talking about building things, the last time, Brother Cruz Azul. So I don't know if you still have that hat. I love that hat. He was like, Kurt, I like that hat. I said, all right, you can have it. It was a soccer team. I just saw Cruz on it. I was like, all right. But the last time we talked, Cruz, you know, you were on the show. I think that we were probably about 20,000 deaths, you know, into this pandemic. You know, now we're like close to like 500,000.
Yep.
Into this pandemic.
Yep.
You know, since then, your company, Purge Virus, has done some amazing things. So why don't you bring us up to speed on purgevirus.com and just the wonderful things that you all have been doing as of late.
Absolutely. Purge Virus was founded by a fella named Charlie, we call him Charlie Serrati, you know, last year. And Charles comes from a architectural and lighting background, a really, really, really smart, bright guy that understands the science behind lighting, understands the science behind space and air and airflow. And, you know, he decided that he was going to, when the pandemic happened, he was going to build a company away from his lighting company that was going to, you know, address the needs of this problem, you know, and it's a problem that basically comes down to one thing and one thing only: the air that we're breathing, you know, and the air that we're breathing is, you know, tainted with not just COVID, but tainted with a lot of things. And the idea was, okay, can we find all these products and get them to the people who need them? Well, the people who need them actually turned out to be every building and every house and every home, and every person needs these products and services that we offer. And plenty of other people are in the industry, and there are plenty of other products out there. You know, the educational process also with these products is really important to talk to folks about as well, because there are a lot of products out there. You'll see a lot of filters and things like that really don't work with COVID. COVID's a very tiny, small virus that can penetrate basically almost anything, and very difficult to disrupt. And that's where we can come up with a couple of technologies that we feel are important in fighting COVID. One is UV lighting, which has been around for 50 plus years, and this is nothing new. It just needs to be adapted. UV lighting will disrupt the formation of viruses and germs like COVID, and will prevent them from replicating. Bipolar ionization is another technology that can be used. And bipolar is interesting because you're creating positive ions to offset and again, disrupt the formation of a virus. Those are two things that we'd like to talk about today those products come in a variety of different ways that you can purchase them and use them in your home or business. In the larger commercial sense, we've got in-duct systems, which are for much bigger buildings, where we'll go into the HVAC system and either install the bipolar setup that we have in the duct, or set up UV lights within the duct to, again, clean out that air that's coming in so it goes out clean. So smaller spaces, homes, small offices, smaller rooms, we have portable products. I have one here with me. This is the one I keep in the house, and I've got a couple of these floating around the house. And this is a small portable unit. I hope you can see it. And this particular product is produced by BioZone, and it's a great product. Can clean up to, this one here can clean up to 300 square feet. And again, something great to use in the house. It's a UV product, this one. This retails probably for around $450 or so. And again, using UV lighting technology. We have bigger portable products as well for larger rooms and offices as well. So it depends what you need, so to speak. It depends, more importantly, your square footage and your airflow. So those are all things that matter.
So square footage, how about cubic footage? How high of a ceiling does this thing still work in?
Ceiling height, a room like this, I would say I've probably got this. I'm in a room that's sloped. So this room it's actually perfect for it. Ceilings go up to about 10, 11 feet. And the rooms are probably about 150, 200 square feet. So this right now, if you look at it, I have the setting on low. So if I were in a bigger room, say a 250 square foot room, I would put the setting on medium. And if I were in a room that was slightly bigger than this, I would probably, like a room a little less than 500 square feet, I'd probably go high on it. Any bigger than 500 square feet, I would probably need a bigger device.
And how long do you keep it running?
I like to keep it running 24/7. It depends, so I like to keep it 24/7 because I like to be protected at all times. Also, if I have folks coming over, not only do I want them to mask up, but I also want the device running because I want the air to be clean while they're here and after they leave. Because as we know, COVID can stick around for a while. So we want the air to consistently run through the system. So I like to leave it on all the time.
So, we've got a basketball team coming in tomorrow that's been hit a lot by COVID restrictions in the last month or so. KD was out, whether you cheer for him or hate him. I think he's a wonderful athlete. I wish he was playing for us, but he's not. What would be, is there a market for professional athletes, people like that? And could they take it with them on the road?
Absolutely. So again, going back to the premise, and in particular with UV lighting for a second, absolutely they can take it on the road. One of the things I like about the smaller units is the portability of them. They're very, very portable. Okay, as far as sports are concerned, arenas are perfect locations for this type of technology in dock. They have massive HVAC systems that we can install bigger systems in, whether it's UV lighting or bipolar ionization, to keep that airflow clean in the arena or the sports facility. Outdoor facilities have indoor spots. You can use it there as well in the indoor spots. So whether you're building a skyscraper or a plant that's 100, 200, 300,000 square feet, you can absolutely use any one of these technologies to keep your air clean on a 24/7 basis.
Sounds cool. Angel, just a couple of questions, and I'll turn over to the smart guy on the call. A lot of the cleansing technology that's out there requires that people not be in the room. Is there any potential damage to an individual to be in while this stuff's being cleaned?
No, not at all. That's the beauty of the stuff, and it's proven technology. Whether it's UV lighting that's that's 50 plus years, it's been in use for 50 plus years, or bipolar ionization, which has been used also probably as long. There is no potential dangers to it because, again, in this particular product, the UV light, you can't really see it, but it's tucked in. It's tucked all the way in the back here. You can't really see it. So you're not getting that direct exposure. We're not talking about direct exposure for you as a person to UV lighting. We're talking exposing the air to UV lighting, not the person.
So what's the, how long do these things last? What's the maintenance? What sort of warranties are on them? $450 seems like a pretty good price.
Yeah, no, this thing could run, this light bulb will last you a couple years, okay? As far as UV lighting, and most UV lighting light bulbs will last you a couple years. Bipolar ionization, on the other hand, will last you 10 years. So there's an advantage to using bipolar when you think of longevity. The thing where bipolar is kind of outbeat a little bit by UV lighting would be in the time that it takes to clean a room. It takes bipolar a little bit longer to clean a room than it does UV lighting.
Awesome. What's the volume been of the company? What do they need to get this product out to more people?
We're cranking right now. We just announced a letter of intent to acquire an HVAC company into our fold of companies, and we're cranking away. So we're good, and so are many other companies doing what we do. We would like to be a one-stop shop to this problem, but there are plenty of other companies working on this. What makes us a little bit different, if anything, is because we're not just offering products that we create. We're out there looking for the best products for our customers. So that's a little bit of a difference with us and other folks.
So what's your marketing? Buy this at Home Depot, or do you buy it straight from you guys? What's the deal?
You buy direct from us, so it's all direct from our company. I work with a lot of municipalities, whether it's schools, colleges, universities, the police departments, 911 centers, prisons. Big problem in prisons as well. So I concentrate on municipalities for the most part. I will sell. I occasionally I branch off and sell to other folks' houses of worship. A big market for us as well. So we sell direct to consumer.
Got it. Thank you.
That's fantastic, Cruz. What do you see? What kind of barriers, I mean, other than natural barriers, people going like just no. The schools right now are hot button. Because we're trying to reopen our schools. What kind of traction is your company getting there? And are they cool with this? Are they supportive? Are they trying to write it into their budget? What's going down with that?
We're seeing a lot of traction with the new administration. Lots of traction.
Okay.
The Biden plan. One of the initiatives, is clean air, clean buildings, safe buildings, buildings that are not sick, are a major focus of the administration now. Because again, we gotta take this virus and we gotta kill it. It's not just vaccines and it goes away. It's a constant battle day after day. And you also want folks to have clean, safe air. Okay. COVID is one of many problems with sick air, so to speak, in buildings. We've heard the term sick buildings prior to COVID, and there's still sick buildings today.
That's an amazing statement. Sick buildings. Our culture. How is what is, in your eyes, what is an impediment to our culture in terms of like taking these sick buildings and making them well? Are we ready for this?
I hope we are. It's not talked about a lot. We're gaining traction now, right? It's because again, COVID pushed everything into the forefront. So where they didn't pay attention to it, now they're paying lots of attention. So we're grateful for that. We need to educate folks on the availability of these products. These products are affordable, they're available, and they should be used. The same way folks go and shop for an air conditioner or go shop for an HVAC system for their home, or business does maintenance on the HVAC system. They should look toward technologies like this to protect their homes and their employees and their workplace. It's something that we're going to have to live with, and the best offense is sometimes defense. And we have to do these things now, or we're never going to get past this thing. It's just going to mutate into something else and something else and something else. We got to get past this thing, and we got to throw everything we have at it to get past it.
So if I could throw in a question, when you're talking to these municipalities and larger institutional type buyers of the product, what is it? And I asked this just from one of those weird questions. It's a CapEx expense. It looks like OpEx, operating expenses, are pretty low. You're going to have replacement of the bulbs in a couple of years, maybe, and on the ion, a lot longer bipolar ion. Is there any sort of measurement to show an ROI on doing this? Can you show that because of this, less people are sick? Is part one. The second part of it is, we looked right before Y2K and this huge amount of technology spend. And then, then it collapsed right after that in late 2000, 2001. How is this company going to be a long-lived company, or do you think you're in the middle of this big updraft?
We hope, right? We hope to be a long-lived company, right? I think we're providing a valuable service and the valuable products that are necessary, right? So part of it is actually the product we sell, right? But also as an educational aspect to what we do as well. We've got to show people their different options. And that's the wonderful thing of selling different types of products, right? So we're not just trying to get just one product kind of and jam it down your throat. No. We're trying to find what's right for you and implement that so it's right for you for the long haul. Luckily, again, getting back to the current administration for a second, there are now funds for these types of things in the CARES Act, and depending on what state you live in, you're starting to see more of that come through now with the next stimulus package being passed. We'll see lots of money come toward what we're doing, and it's going to be around for a long time. You can't take all these buildings and the hundreds of millions, if not billions, of buildings that exist in the U.S. and make them all safe for one shot. You can't do it. We may never be able to do it, but you know what? Let's give it a shot, and let's get as many folks as possible healthy.
Excellent. So the sort of a sidebar question to that, any thoughts on the company effectively leasing the product, or is it always going to be a product sell?
Great question, Jeff. We do. I don't know if I call it a lease, but we've rented product to facilities. We do provide financing, so we can do rentals, we can do financings, and on very favorable terms, I may add. And also another thing we're looking at now is providing the system to folks where we can have measurable decrease of energy use. And let me explain what I mean by that. In particular, bipolar ionization, the number of air changes that happen can be reduced. So let's say you're in a building, and that building is basically creating cool air only to push it out to bring in hot air, only to bring to cool it down, only to push it back out again. Using bipolar ionization, those air changes can be reduced. Okay, so you've got some folks in politics talking about increasing airflow. What we're saying is, in particular with bipolar ionization, you could decrease airflow. Okay, so you're reducing those air changes per hour. The air, in fact, what happens is the air actually becomes cleaner indoors than it is outdoors. And that's a home run because your energy costs are going to go down dramatically, particularly if you're in states like Florida and Texas and certain parts of California where you're spending billions and billions of dollars on energy because of air conditioning, air heating, or what have you. You can reduce those costs, and basically it more than pays for our system in the first year, and the savings are yours with ionization probably for the next 9 to 10 years, because that's how long you could use the ionization product before you have to change it.
How's your penetration with houses of worship?
You know, we're working with houses of worship, right? So, and I believe the houses of worship will benefit with monies out there, but again, it's a very long sales process, right? So, you know, you'll have the houses of worship tell you that they've got something with their HVAC company. The HVAC company is providing them with like HEP filters or some other filters. And those filters are, you know, they're great for cleaning air, so to speak, so you can have nicer, cleaner air. It does nothing against viruses because, again, this virus is so microscopic that it flows right through a HEP filter. So it goes with the educational process, Curtis, and we're calling on them and we're emailing them, and and again, you know, funds are tight for houses of worship. I don't think there are very few of them that are really doing well right now, you know, because based on, you know, what's happened with being closed with COVID and then opening and folks not coming and all that stuff. So it's been a very slow process. We hope to make inroads there, and any help you can provide with that, I greatly appreciate it.
Definitely. We've already talked about it. I want to, you know, get on board with it, you know, and then, you know, I'll make sure that I get you hooked up with my convention. We'll take a top-down approach, right, you know, to this. How is, and even that he goes to church, he's an elder, you know, so there you go, Jeff. You know.
Yeah, but it's more by age than wisdom.
Dude, the guy preached at my church, man, Cruz. The people went crazy. I don't believe him, dude. Let me throw in a question. Yeah.
So, thinking about smart buildings, thinking about, you know, the air turn, you know, the fact that power is so much more expensive during the day, you know, many more cents per kilowatt hour than it is at night. Is there work on integrating this with smart buildings so that it is used at the proper time and really brings those costs down even more? How's that integration going?
The same way, actually, and I'm glad you brought up a smart building because, again, we could take that airflow and slow it down during peak hours, slow it down. So again, your energy savings, your energy costs, I mean, they just drop dramatically, you know. I mean, and again, a 20 to 25, 30% savings on energy is dramatic. And the hot weather states, it's something that the hot weather states, they face the problem almost year round.
Yeah, but there's nothing like seeing the ladies at Curtis's church with their fans.
But guess what? Their fans gonna need some UV lighting on their fans because, you know, I mean, to me, what's clear is that this is something that we really have to tackle, and I think that Purge Virus is a company that is here for a time such as this. You guys got anything happening on the international front? Canada, Mexico?
There's so much here. There's so much here, Curtis, that we haven't really focused abroad. There's so much here that needs to be done. Our products are U.S. made. We're offering U.S. made products. We're selling them here in the U.S. and not that we don't want to go abroad, but there's so much here to be done. We couldn't even, you know, make a dent in all that needs to be done out here with before even looking at going abroad. It's not something I don't think that we're going to look at right now for the foreseeable future.
Okay.
What's the application at grocery stores, restaurants, et cetera, on ice?
We do really well with restaurants, really well. I would say they have been early adopters to the technology because they're trying to figure out how do you keep folks coming in, keep them safe, and is this a good marketing tool for them? And you know what? It's all the above. So folks feel comfortable about coming to a restaurant, knowing that not only are they, the table's 6 feet apart, okay, but the air is clean, so they can eat, take off their mask and eat, and put the mask on, and you know what, not have that worry, not have that feeling that they could get sick in a place not offering clean air.
So that's awesome. Do you any thoughts on, and we didn't talk about this before, so many germs reside in the ice containers.
Yep.
What do you guys, is there an application of this technology in there?
Again, we can put anywhere airflow is coming from, anywhere there's an HVAC type of room or space, or it doesn't have to be big space. Anywhere we can get in there, there's an application for us. Again, through bipolar ionization in particular, it opens up even more areas, because the bipolar aspect, this is a very thin strip, and they're almost like Lego blocks, so to speak. And we put them together depending on how big your HVAC system is. Some of these things are the size of a room, if you can imagine. So we're able to put these things together and, again, offer clean air. And again, as a building owner, I'll tell you, I can't think of a building owner not wanting to have a safe building now. You think about what we've been through. A building owner would not have operate a building without air conditioning, right? So why would you operate a building without clean air? And that's what we're trying to tackle, and really beat that into folks' heads so they can understand how important this is and how necessary it is today, right now.
So if you had this in a business, I'm just thinking about, the building owners that are just got really hit this past year on occupancy and the like. Is there any way of being able to, it's going to be a CapEx in all likelihood to bring this in. But looking at what you're talking about with the energy savings and the like, is there any way to help have their tenants, since they're sharing in the benefit, share the cost in this, through the smart building type financing? Have you thought about that at all?
Yeah, again, a lot of this stuff is developing now, where we're saying lots of grants come in, for example, one thing I'm working on now is with the state of Louisiana. They have a ton of CARES Act money left over that was specifically laid out for buildings. So that's a market that we're going into now, and we're starting to see every state have money, or grant money in particular, that's available to any and everyone who applies for it. In the state of Louisiana, for example, the only requirement is that it's a building of a certain size, and the size is actually, I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it's actually pretty small. So I would encourage folks to do their research. I would encourage folks to call. I would encourage folks to if they want to call us, they can call us. I'll be glad and happy to speak to anyone. I'll say this a couple of times throughout the show, but my email is angel.cruz@purgevirus.com. Angel, ANGEL.cruz, CRUZ @purgevirus.com. Phone number 415-531-6593. And I'll say that a couple times during the show, but we're here to provide answers, because again, it's as a salesperson, there's no better sale than a sale that actually helps people. And this has been a phenomenal project for me, and real excited to see it develop the way it has.
That sounds great. You talked about the market a little bit. What is that market looking like? How much penetration is there, and how many companies are out there that are kind of doing what you guys are doing?
There are hundreds of companies that do what we do. Maybe not with the specialty type of boutique feel that we'll give it. But every HVAC company out there has a solution for this type of thing. And every day I see a new company out there selling a new product, or selling a new filter, or selling a new gizmo or machine, or I've seen things that cost as little as $20, and seen things that cost thousands of dollars. I don't know how effective those little gizmos are that cost $20, but I've seen some really good products out there as well. So, folks really should look this stuff up. They should do their homework and see what's right for them. Building owners should absolutely, without a doubt, look to see what works for them. The market hasn't even been. The surface hasn't even been scratched yet, Curtis. It's that big. Think about it. Every building in America.
Mm-hmm.
Forget the homes for a second. Every building in America needs this. And homes, you know what? I like a clean home. Well, that should include clean air, right?
Right.
It's just the way. No one wants to get sick, and getting sick nowadays it can be a fatal thing. So no one wants to get sick. Everyone, I look forward to the days, and I don't even know if we're going to actually have the days when you can embrace someone, give them a hug, and talk to them face to face. I don't know if that's ever going to happen again. I believe it will. I just don't know how long it's going to take. But this is a huge step forward to make sure that we can get there, sooner than later.
Mm-hmm.
From a business development cycle, how often do buildings change their systems, and how do you get in front of that?
Every building is different, right? So you got your basic, and you have them in your home, your filters, you got to change them every so much. Buildings have that. They have all types of other air handles and things like that need to be serviced and fixed and maintained. I would say that most building owners that I've seen thus far, because again, I deal with mostly municipalities, have been very responsible, as far as maintaining and upkeeping their facilities as best they can. Budgets being what they are, sometimes shortcuts need to be taken. So I've seen some of that as well, But for the most part, I will say that the majority of building owners I've seen have been really responsible. Now, does that mean they're out there spending hundreds of thousands of dollars putting in all kinds of systems? No. This is the beauty of this is that whether it's UV lighting or bipolar ionization, it's actually really, really affordable. And the reason why it's affordable is it's between 30. You got to look at it between 30 and 50 cents a square foot. Well, it doesn't matter what size facility. That's what you got to look at, somewhere between there. And we offer financing. So we could finance this thing out 5 years and make it really affordable for the building owner. If that building owner decides to pursue bipolar ionization, okay, that building owner is going to see cost savings, number one. He's going to see fair financing and an interest rate environment, which we've never seen in our lifetimes prior to this last couple of years, I mean, we're never going to see rates this low ever again. So if you're ever going to invest in your building in clean air, that right now is the time to do it.
Just this
That's great.
coming to mind, and I apologize for the strange questions. Municipalities, when they're building a building, if they look real closely at CapEx, at capital expenditures. They don't look. It's normally somebody else that's running the operation, the OpEx later. Or they don't say, it's costing us $10 million to build, and they don't look at the fact that it costs $1 million a year to operate.
Right, and maybe I can answer it this way. They're consistently looking at costs, right? But I'll give you the example of a hotel, right? You're consistently looking at costs, but you're not making any money if that room is empty, or if your guests are not comfortable in that room. Or if your guests knew that you operated a clean, so quote unquote clean hotel, clean air hotel, they would come. folks want to come to places. They're looking for stuff like this, and that's the other aspect of it. Folks are looking for this type of thing. You know, I see now. I'm starting to see franchises put in systems like this.
So like I have on my IBM computer here, Intel inside, we should see a purge or a virus purge inside, purge virus inside.
So we're moving to a culture where we will positively see, look, and I love your pick, bro. It just takes me back, bro. On the website, Angel Cruz, Southeast Regional Sales Director. Yeah, it takes great pick, man. Looking good.
Well, it's funny, Kurt, because it's not something that I prior to being involved with Purge Virus, I knew very little about this stuff.
Yeah.
Very little, other than reading up on sick buildings and seeing that for many years. But it's when I saw the market is insane for this thing. The market is humongous for what we do. And that's why I think we broke up there, but that's why I got involved.
Okay, well, I got a matter of fact, a sign that said my internet connection is unstable. I'm getting ready to put in a 300 meg system up in my house, man.
Well, the thing I like the most
work from
about this,
home.
the thing I like the most about this is what we're seeing in the financial markets right now, and that is that bright light on bad dealings kills germs.
Dude. We're gonna see some more bright light in a minute. A whole lot of bright light. I was moving to a culture where, I think you said something about it the last time we talked about this, where you might actually see on a building some kind of certification that says our air is clean. When you talk about people who are looking for this, do you see that? Are we moving into that area rapidly?
Absolutely. There's a building in San Francisco, and you know it, Curtis. Both of you guys know it. The Federal Building on 7th Street in Mission.
Mm-hmm.
They did their best to put in the latest technology. Ugly building. They did their best to put in the latest technology in there. That building runs without air conditioning. It's all outside air. It's all fresh air, which in one sense, you would think that for COVID, it's a good thing, and it's better than being in an enclosed sick building. It's definitely better. But, COVID can still be transferred, in the air. So, again, having fresh air, just move it around really doesn't do much good. But it's better than being in a building where it just stays, There's a big difference. But that was probably, and I forget how long ago that building went up there, Curtis, but that was where I saw some of the first type of next generation forward thinking and building buildings. And now, I moved from San Francisco, obviously, so I'm now in Florida. But I'm sure now the buildings that are being built in San Francisco have some of the latest and greatest technology. If they didn't have it when they opened, they have it now, because San Fran has always been very progressive in that type of movement. So, and a lot of new skyscrapers have been built there. So I'm sure you've got some of this technology there right now.
Yeah, I mean, part of both of you bring up a really good point, and that is, in the past, we would use the old template, and it started where we're going to put the furnace, where we're going to put the HVACs, rather than where do we want the air to be. So now it's more of reverse. Where's the air? And then we'll go backwards from that. You don't need ducting that makes 3 90-degree turns.
Yep.
When if you set it up, you got a straight shot, and you don't need the same kind of pump to push that much air anymore.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Talk about this CARES Act money, because I'm going to have to do some research on that, because obviously it's something that we don't know about it that much.
It depends on the state, right? So every state is different. Look into it, because again, California is one of those, again, really progressive states where that money could be there for you. So definitely do your homework. We have found CARES Act money for nursing homes in Ohio,
Man, stop
for
it, bro.
example. And that was really nice money, right? So, in the case of Ohio, each nursing facility got $15,000 rebate on equipment that they bought. So they could have bought $15,000 worth of equipment, whether it's lights, filters, things like this, and be 100% reimbursed up to $15,000. So that's one small like provision in like something like the CARES Act, and that one was for Ohio nursing homes. Nursing homes for a minute nationwide, a big problem as far as those folks again having access to clean air. They have one of the biggest COVID problems, and they also have um, uh, uh, they need to do something immediately. Nursing homes are in a very bad spot where uh, the rates are through the roof. I mean, I think you're seeing a lot of stuff come out now in New York State with the numbers with Cuomo and things like that, and what was
Yeah.
reported, not reported. And I don't really know the real specifics there, but I will tell you that the cases of COVID in nursing homes are through the roof. It's every room needs a device like this, or we could do if the room has like a PTAC system, which is kind of like those radiators, like a kind of not a radiator, but you know what I'm talking about when you go
Right.
by the window, you turn on the AC
Right.
there,
Right.
or whether it's whether it's an HVAC system where we can get up there and do that. All of those places need services like we provide, or any other company that does this provides.
Mm-hmm. Healy.
I'm just, and I love the fact that we are looking at problems, and we're going back to the root cause, which is that air. And it's a lot better to in my mind. There's an old story about these dead bodies coming downstream, and the town gets all these systems in place to take care of the dead bodies coming down the stream, until finally somebody goes upstream and figures out why are there all these dead bodies.
Yep.
we got to deal with causes. It's too easy to deal with a symptom and never deal with the root cause.
We're very reactionary as a country, and that's the sad thing, right? Because all right, I mean, the vaccine and the time of development and all that, incredible. I mean, you saw the USA at its finest moment, really, by doing as much as they did to get those vaccines out there. Incredible work. But that's just the start. It's not the end. And we got to be ready for the next one and the next time this happens. And if we do our work now, there won't be a next time. If every building is safe, there won't be a next time. And that's what we have to really look toward. Excuse me, not COVID today, but let's end this stuff here and now permanently across the country.
Yeah, that's you bring up a great point. It's we saw just in the last couple of weeks, and I'm not going to get too political, but I'll get just a little bit political. One party of the two parties didn't want the other one to have success, because then they'd own it and own the victory. I'm sick and tired of there being an R and a D behind a politician's name when it should be an A for American.
Absolutely. This is definitely not, politics has no place in what needs to be done. It absolutely has no place.
Right.
We need lots of folks installing lots of American product in American buildings. End of story. And it's not gonna stop until we make sure that it stops. It's up to us.
Right. As a pastor, I just want to give a shout out to the family of Harriet Carter, because I had to intern her yesterday because she caught COVID. And although she was up in age, still it was like the reason why she died. And just to kind of see that and to see, I don't think people really get it. When you go to a cemetery to intern someone, right? And then you don't have like the standard pallbearers that will carry the casket to his grave, to his final resting space. And then you see these cemetery workers with the suits on, with the hazmat suits on, fully clothed, because they don't touch anything. It's a reality. Can you take us a little bit deeper? We got a few more minutes left, but could you take us a little deeper, man, into this bipolar ionization piece that you talked about?
It's pretty, it's the funny thing about it is that it's from an installation standpoint, it's actually probably an easier product to install than maybe the UV lights. But bipolar ionization, basically what it does, it produces positive ions that somehow they seek the pathogens. That's probably the best way I can explain it, and disrupt the pathogens. That's the best way. It's over flooding the system with ions, positive ions, not producing ozone, okay? Seeking the pathogens to kill it. And that's the best possible way I can explain it. I mean, it's also on there on our website. Thank you for putting that up there, Kurt. If you go to purgevirus.com, you'll see all that stuff on there to explain how it works. Another benefit to this stuff, and I noticed, and again, Curtis, thank you for putting it up there, because now you're reminding me, is that UV lighting, bipolar ionization reduces odors, it saves energy, it reduces pathogens, and reduces particles. So all those benefits are there for you, whether you're using, these benefits here are for bipolar ionization, but also UV lighting. It's going to get rid of the odors in your home or your office, or you're going to, because again, the air is clean, right? So odors travel through the air, right? So same type of science, same type of technology, so to speak.
Yeah, but I love walking by this one Burmese restaurant. It's the best.
Dude, what's what, frog legs, man? What are you doing? What are you doing?
So do I, and I tell you, it's gonna suck the day you walk into a restaurant, and in particular the late night restaurants, and you take a good smell and it smells clean. You're gonna be like, oh, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Like I can't smell that fish head soup. I love fish head soup, man. That stuff smells good. That garlic in that fish head, I tell you, it is something to be held, man. It's something to be held. Healy, you got any other questions, man? Anything like that you'd like to ask Brother Cruz?
I don't have a question. It's a little bit of a question. Cruz, when did you say this is really something I got to do?
Great. I tell you why that's a great question. I have COPD. Okay, so breathing. I almost died actually 3 years ago, a couple days ago. So breathing was something I couldn't do anymore. I spent a long period of time in the hospital, and this was due to being a lifelong smoker. Really stupid thing to do. If anyone out there smokes, I'm going to give you a real reason to quit right now. So I couldn't breathe anymore, flatline, because there was no air going into my body. Wake up a week or two later at Florida Hospital, which is what's now called Advent, which is, thank God, I was over at my mother's, which I still am, which was literally minutes away. Had it been any longer, I wouldn't have made it. Spent the better part of 2018 learning to breathe again, right? Not learning to breathe again, understanding my lung capacity, which is now down in the 50s. Normal lung capacity is somewhere in the 80s. Nothing worse than trying to breathe and not being able to. And, this COVID stuff, when I first really, really got into it, reminded me of what I went through. And I remember being in the hospital, and I remember the technicians telling me, come on, man, you got to breathe, man. And they would give me like this all this medication that you would have to kind of, breathe into. And then they wanted you to really breathe deep to open up your lungs. And I couldn't breathe. And it took a very long time to get well enough where, I'm incredibly active. I'm working on lots of things. I'm living what I consider to be a normal life as best as I can. When I saw COVID, I'm like, Jesus Christ, these people are spending, weeks on ventilators. When they put me on a ventilator, it was weird because I was, according to my mother, what she told me, I was purple when they put the ventilator in me. They did it so fast that they damaged my vocal cords and they paralyzed my vocal cords, and I couldn't speak for almost a year. So, long story short, and the reason I bring this up is because I could understand what each and every one of these people are going through. And we haven't talked about the long-term effect of COVID, the lung damage, the folks that are going to have lifelong problems because of COVID. So it really hit home, Jeff. And I'm glad you asked that question, because I can't imagine young folks going through this. Really, I did it to myself, but folks that are just kind of, a high schooler getting, this happening to a 25-year-old, even an elderly person that never smoked or touched a cigarette.
Well, I have to tell you, the world would be a bad place without your voice. So we're glad you got it back.
Yeah. Oh no, thank you very much.
Dude, for real, right?
Look, let me tell you, it's it took that and a friend introduced me to Purge Virus, and it clicked. I was doing something else. I still do something else additional to Purge Virus, but what I said to myself, I have to go out there and I have to try to figure out where this stuff is really needed. And it's been a lot of trial and error, because we are still a startup as startups go, but our client base is blue chip. I mean, we've worked with and I say blue chip, we've worked with IBM, we've worked with tons of hospitals. We talked about who were the how do we know this works? It's because some of the finest institutions in the country use this. The hospitals, U.S. military bases. Oh my God, one of the big military ships uses it. The Mercy, is it? I think it's the Mercy. This stuff is everywhere. So UV technology, so folks that are worried about it, it's been around forever, and it works. It works in killing germs. Bipolar ionization has been around for a very long time. It works. It works in killing germs and pathogens, and that's what we have to do. We don't do it now. This stuff's never going to end. It's COVID today. It'll be something else tomorrow.
Right. Well, Brother Healy is a Naval Academy graduate, and we're going to help, man. We're going to help, and it's kind of interesting. I remember, bro, when you were, you took me back, to 2018. I used to try to talk to you. You really couldn't talk.
No.
Your conversation, like this conversation that we're having right now, Jeff, we couldn't have it, man. Cruise could maybe do like 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah, that was it. I would be out of breath, and and it took a long time. I remember struggling to walk up and down my driveway. Today so far I've walked 5 miles this morning. And I'll do another whatever, a couple miles with the dog at the end of the day. Look, what kind of dog you got, man? I'm sorry, man.
It's actually my mother's dog. She's got a mutt. It's half.
She got a mutt.
She's half pit bull and half Chihuahua. So it barks loud like a Chihuahua, but it's got the husky body. It's
like the little head on the big body.
It's a smaller head with a big body. But you know what? I love the dog, and completely now. I forgot what it was like to have a dog, because I had a dog when I was much younger. It's the best thing ever.
You got to send us a picture of that dog. We got to see.
Where is he? Where is he? Is he around?
No, I had to. It's a she. I had to lock her up, or else we could never have this conversation, because.
Cool. Okay. All right.
She runs the house, So, but one thing I want to do, Kurt, is to definitely give you guys my info. Not you guys, but the folks that are listening to the info one more time, because. Again, feel free. You can call me anytime, folks. 415-531-8255. 415-531-6593 is my number. Again, 415-531-6593. Email is angel, as it sounds, ANGEL, Cruz, CRUZ, @purgevirus.com. I will have any conversation if you need to speak to some of our, rocket scientist type of folks. We'll put those folks on the phone or on email with you, and let's connect and figure out how to get this done.
We will. I would use everything that I have, and Jeff will use what he can do. And
Absolutely.
we'll make this happen, man. We want to have. It's just so wonderful, brother. I love you, man. Having you.
No, and I appreciate. Let me tell you something, folks. I appreciate. I've been watching you guys since we did our first show, and I appreciate with the message you guys are sending out there of all positive, creative. You're just out there trying to motivate folks, and I love it. I love it. The conversations are stimulating. So, my hat's off to both of you. It's been fantastic. The shows I have seen have been fantastic.
Man, all world, man.
I just try to keep out of Salt's way and everything good happens.
Oh, man, this guy's great, man. This guy's great. So are we good, Elder Healy?
We're good.
Thumbs up. Cruz with the contact information. Right.
Right.
And ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you again for joining us for Momentum, a stewardship idea. We love you. Have a great day. Take care of yourself. Stay strong and stay safe.
Peace.